Split screen racing could be one of the last bastions of local PvP and co-op AAA content. I am CouchCoop and this is my review of Formula 1 2023, which has landed on Game Pass and on PSN Plus, sits on the shelf at $69.99. No thanks. Who is the current crown holder for this subgenre? It's definitely still Dirt 5. I say subgenre because F1 2023 isn't really an arcade racer. However, when enjoying it with someone else and having those assists on sort of medium, nothing too crazy, it does feel like quite an accessible game. That's why I mentioned Dirt 5 is rally, and it really is pick up and play. Just about anybody can get their heads around it. But this is really for F1 fans and for local co-op racers. It's actually doing two things incredibly. This is running on a mid-range PC, and I have managed to get some frame rates up on the top right sometime. You do have view adjustment toggles on both profiles, and it's a guest join-in, so this is where things get very interesting. You're kind of playing the campaign of player one and unlocking a lot of their skill points with them. So you have a choice to either be on the same team or be on the opposing team, and of course race on a true PvP level. There is no sort of quick race, smaller league. You do have to go into full seasons. It's okay, you still have access to all the variables, and you can adjust a lot of the tracks before going into a lot of these races and put the laps down. You don't have to do 20 plus. Frame rates are in the top right here. Now, I kept some of the settings on Ultra. It defaulted to a lot of that on the single player, so I was interested to see if any of the toggles I moved around vastly affected things. I didn't actually have to in the end. It settled at around 40, it didn't go up and down, it felt pretty damn smooth and looks quite spectacular for a split screen Formula 1 game. So let's just cover that first point of excellence, and it comes in the form of a sort of campaign that you can both have access to and develop and get through. You can help the other player progress within the game itself. I think that's very important. A lot of split screen racers are sort of one and done. You don't really contribute to a bigger picture, but with this you can get straight into it, sort of do a whole season, sit there for a couple of hours and really get immersed in quite a cool campaign structure. I do want to say, and I think this is a bit of an obvious one, but it has to be covered, there was a chance that it could just be two people on this track. Some massive AAA racing video games remove all of the AI when you go up against someone in local split screen. There is none of that. MotoGP also obeys the same rule. Full track, full cars, whole pack behind us. Absolutely excellent stuff. Also got a nice damage model as standard. It can be completely removed, but I recommend you keep it in. It gives some risk and danger to being reckless. That's what Formula 1 is really all about, and it's so cool sort of teetering around your teammate waiting for that ideal overtake opportunity. This is not a smash through dirt situation. And talking of smashing, I actually broke my car completely, and it defaulted because I was out of the race to a replay mode on that top screen. Now, a couple of things happened here. It did chug the lower screen on frame rates and caused some issues for the person left still racing. It was a great idea, I just don't think my PC could handle it. Now that brings me on to its second amazing aspect, a singular screened replay on local co-op split screen mode. What I'm talking about is after a race you can go in, access the replay menu and look at your race in its entirety, both of you, and toggle between on the directional button who you want to view. This is such a great reward after a really difficult race. You and your mate might have been going hammer and tong for the final lap, and you get to see all of it in its glory, unspoiled, and completely move around the pack, i.e. look at your player and yourself to see who's in front, who's behind. That is such a great incentive to play this game. Also didn't see a huge dip in performance on the frame rate, still at around 50. If you do this on the new Forza game, it goes down to about 20 frames per second, not even in the local split screen. Now let's talk about chuggery, or the game not being able to cope with a lot of its effects within that split screen mode, and it is the rain. Everything went down to Nintendo Switch, but it was to be expected. I'm kind of running a lot of things on Ultra. There may even be ray tracing in here, so you might have to remove a lot of that if you want a smooth experience with some of the weather effects on. Other than some of these minor performance issues, when you start mucking around with the weather variables, I'm extremely impressed with this game, and the fact that it's available on a lot of the services and you don't have to pay full price is definitely the way forward with it, because it's not something that's going to sit in your library forever, but it is certainly something you need to try if you're into split screen racing. And of course it definitely scratches that Formula 1 itch with all of the new drivers and new manufacturers and some amazing tracks. There is also some tactics thrown in with that DRS system, and if you take damage and put the laps up, you can involve the pits and fuel and tyre wear. Everything can get super complicated if you want it to. As far as arcade racing goes, I'm a huge fan of that subgenre also. Games like Grip, games like Wipeout Amiga Collection, even the Sonics and Crash Bandicoots, they are all in a huge list. I will put the link in the description, and of course, I'll see you down there.